In this world of illusion, everything can be made to seem opposite, conflicting. It causes confusion in those who are made to choose between things they can see are equally valid and valuable. Are science and God opposed? Are the religions really that different? What is the reality of the whole picture in a larger frame? We can either examine everything for differences or examine everything for similarities. Our default mode can be set to contrast or compare. Which way of examining do you think will create more peace, acceptance, and love in the world and in yourself? Live 3D, connecting your three-part self in 2, 1. The solar system's 8 planets offers just one Earth. Here we effortlessly exist from our moment of birth. Everything here has purpose, each purpose a living thing. All life is interconnected by webs of DNA string. Your life has purpose.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Max Ehrman.
You are significant. Upon learning astronomy or the sheer volume of Earth history, you may conclude that our lives are insignificant. However, in our universe, something as small as an atom has the power to change everything. You're already preparing for your purpose.
We begin to prepare for the work that we have to do, and customarily, we have no idea what we are preparing for. So as a child, I had no idea what I was preparing for, and yet, of course, I was in many respects preparing. Peace, Pilgrim.
Never stop growing. Science and religion try answering the same questions. The human mind grows deeper through their reflections. What is Earth? Why are we here? How long does it all exist? We only glimpse the answer, so questioning still persists. Do you wonder who you are? Every inch of the Earth, no matter what the condition, is habitat to organisms ingrained with a mission, fighting to outlast the masses. Life evolution produced, influx, change, dynasties risen and reduced. Then small animals with big brains made it to the top. With reason, insight, and logic, they were hard to stop. Fossil evidence shows Homo sapien appears and steadily reproduced over 200,000 years. Right now you're alive, there's no guarantee. Only fit survive. What's the least you need? What do you need? In 1943, Abraham Maslow wrote a paper outlining what he believed to be the main sources of motivation innate to all humans. Maslow ordered these motivating needs, and his work is referred to as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Making up the large bottom portion of the pyramid are our physiological needs, hunger and thirst. After our need for food and water are met, the next portion is safety. Safety includes a stable and secure place where our other needs like sleep can be met. The middle of the pyramid, after physiological needs and safety, is belongingness and love. To love and be loved is very important to humans and other animals. Feeling a sense of belonging fulfills a basic need. A person can go their whole life and be satisfied with this level of the pyramid and below. When people have an easier time achieving the bottom needs of the pyramid, they are freed up to explore their sense of self. Above love and connection, Maslow placed a desire for achievement and respect from others called self-esteem. Self-esteem may be bolstered by others, but evolves out of the recognition of one's own unique capabilities. The highest and rarest motivation on the pyramid is self-actualization. Some people are driven to find or carve out their own distinctive path in life, so as to live up to one's fullest potential. These people are seeking self-actualization. There are many cultural and environmental factors that impact the ability to reach these top two needs. Do you value yourself? Body parts function through the brain. Human is consciousness our minds attain. The body and mind under each other's influence evolve and change through our life experience. There's a third part of us able to stand on its own, a part many cultures for millennium have known. The names are different depending on where you hear it, this everlasting part of us we call our soul or spirit. Separate from the body and mind, our eternal essence, not visible or obvious, it's known through experience. Overlooked and ignored, our soul has the answer and breaks the mindset where we think we're not nature. Do you know your soul? God, who is present everywhere, is most surely to be found within the individual's own soul, and it is here that he is most accessible. Carl Jung. How can you hear your soul? Quiet your mind. Meditation can help.
The point of meditation is it's not work. It is something that just is. You let everything be a part of that meditation, and you take the time to go inward and become it, because peace is not without you, it's within. Hello, I'm Stevie T, and I'm going to talk about meditation today, specifically about peace meditation. So basically, if you can breathe, you can meditate. No excuses. If there are animals making noise, if there is traffic going by, if people are arguing, if you're on the bus, if you are in a car, you're on wherever you are, you can meditate for peace, because peace is within you. It's your birthright. You don't need to ask somebody for it, and it's not outside of you. It is within you, and I know that's what meditation teaches, is that it's within you. And so long as you're not operating any heavy machinery, go ahead and whenever you're ready, especially, yes, in the shower or the bath is a very good place also, is you close your eyes. Now I would suggest you breathe in for 3 seconds or 6 seconds. Just pick a number, one that's comfortable for you. The point is not to pass out, but the thing is to pick a denomination of seconds that which you can fully breathe in. Let's say it's 5 seconds, and then fully breathe out for those 5 seconds. And do this at least 3 times. And so when you're there, it'll feel like you're in a whole new space. What I mean is consciously, you are now in the here and now moment, which in my world is all that there is. Just a series of new now next moments that are not attached to time whatsoever. So keep breathing. Breathing's a big part of it, and you follow your breath. So even if there's noise around you or what have you, or distractions, as long as you can follow your breath, that is going to keep you on track. So I would now suggest that you put your hand on your heart, or both hands on your heart, and with your eyes closed, because when your eyes are closed, you are, so to speak, you're in the back seat of the car instead of in the passenger seat or the driver's seat. So you're in the back seat of the car with your eyes closed, your attention is drawn inward as you keep breathing. Breathing is very important. So introduce compassion in your heart space with your hand or hands on your heart. And this compassion can be for the world. Some days it's very hard to find compassion for anything or anyone. But I know you can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it. So it can be about trees. It could be about animals. It could be about your pet. It could be about the world. It could be about your grandmother, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. Pick something somewhere. It could be a place or something. Introduce compassion and feel what that feels like as you're breathing. A sense of love and compassion, even forgiveness on whatever it is that you're picturing now. And if it changes, let it change. Let it be a part of your meditation. Anything that happens, let it be a part of the meditation. So it's good that we've set our intention to have a peace meditation. So I want you to then take yourself in your mind, in your imagination, to a place that you love, or a place that you've read about in a book that you can imagine with great detail that feels really great for you. For me, that would be probably a waterfall. You can even, so let's go with a waterfall here. You can even feel yourself being the waterfall and feeling the effortlessness and the flow and the power and the being of the waterfall. So you picture this great space or this peaceful spot. It can even be a park with a bench in it under a tree. And just keep introducing the compassion towards yourself or that animal or that place, person, or thing. And keep with your breaths, whether you pick 3 seconds or 5 seconds. No right, no wrong. Let everything be a part of the meditation. And now I want you to place your hand on your belly. And I want you to feel like what it's like to have yourself feeling your heartbeat and feeling your belly at the same time. And I want you to notice how the space of your heart and your belly link, and they are one space. And keep with your breaths and imagining yourself in that great space, that peaceful place, the place that brings joy and happy thoughts, or that animal or that person, and stay there. Now, for a more tranquil thing, maybe we're next to a pond and we're just looking into the pond through our imagination with our eyes closed. And we're breathing those cyclical breaths. Now I want you to introduce peaceful thoughts about yourself, about your friend, about your pet, about the world. Things that are positive, things that you already know about. And you'll surprise yourself because you'll come up with things that you think that you didn't know possible. Just let it go where it goes.
What are the truths that speak to your soul? Universal truth. What are the commonalities between science and the world's religions and mystical traditions? Destruction and creation form an endless cycle. A universe starting force, how should it be named? As if infinity, one syllable, can contain. A concept so vague in our mind's interior, to convey it in words makes it more inferior. Understanding is deceptive, tied to the culture we bring. Unknowingly, are we all describing the same thing? God is one given name for the origin of things, and meanings vary from singularity source to king. God has been personified, called the Creator, considered by many as the universe's law inventor. God is everlasting, God is eternal, God rolled it all out in the space-time interval. The source, what came before the singularity, which expanded infinite matter and energy. The force of the universe, it's all-pervasive, it's perfect, sovereign, and it's all-inclusive. The Big Bang Theory explains how the universe expanded out in all directions from an infinitely dense particle.
By faith, we understand that the universe was ordered by the Word of God, so that what is visible came into being through the invisible. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 3.
It's a law that chaos and disorder increase, yet our ordered universe seems to conflict with this. Nature's most intricate is seen as simplicity by those who know fractals and self-similarity. Repeating simple rules makes complexity increase. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Knowing it's impossible to offend the universe's cause, the prophets were teachers of the universe's laws, like cycles and spectrums, destruction and creation, how everything's joined through interconnection. The seasons unfurling in a rhythmic pattern, how one turned to many, then to one many returned. How we're equipped like gods with creative potential, how our place in nature is to be experiential. We are part of the universe, and the universe is part of us. Jesus taught that the kingdom of God is within you. God is within each of us is a thought that's Hindu. You are God yourself, the Buddha tried to enlighten. Christians believe the spirit is the God force in man. A line from the Quran to remember and rehearse is you are designed to rule over the universe. And God is with us, we create our own destiny, taught an incarnation of the Hindu deity. It came to me that God was a creative force, a motivating power, an all-over intelligence, an ever-present, all-pervading spirit, which binds everything in the universe together and gives life to everything. That brought God close. I could not be where God is not. You are within God. God is within you. Peace, Pilgrim. There are always those who take it upon themselves to defend God as if the ultimate reality, as if the sustaining frame of existence were something weak and helpless. These people walk by a widow, deformed by leprosy, begging for a few paise, walk by children dressed in rags, living in the street, and think business as usual. But if they perceive a slight against God, it's a different story. Their faces go red, their chests heave mightily, they sputter angry words. The degree of their indignation is astonishing. Their resolve is frightening. Jan Martel. Hinduism is a monotheistic religion. The numerous divinities such as Krishna, Ganesh, Shiva, Vishnu, and Rama are manifestations of Brahman, the ultimate Godhead.
God is certainly one. He has no second. He is unfathomable, unknowable, and unknown to the vast majority of mankind. He is everywhere. He sees without eyes and hears without ears. He is formless and invisible. He is nearest to us if we would but know the fact, but he is farthest from us when we do not want to realize his omnipresence. Gandhi.
Brahman is expressed not only in gods, but in humans, animals, and trees, in a handful of earth, for everything has a trace of the divine in it. The truth of life is that Brahman is no different than Atman, the spiritual force within us, what you might call the soul. The individual soul touches upon the world soul like a well reaches for the water table, that which sustains the universe beyond thought and language, and that which is at the core of us and struggles for expression is the same thing, the finite within the infinite within the finite. If you ask me how Brahman and Atman relate precisely, I would say in the same way the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit relate, mysteriously. But one thing is clear, Atman seeks to recognize Brahman, to be united with the Absolute, and it travels in this life on a pilgrimage where it is born and dies, and is born again and dies again, and again until it manages to shed the sheaths that imprison it here below. The paths to liberation are numerous, but the bank along the way is always the same. The bank of karma, where the liberation account of each of us is credited or debited depending on our actions. This, in a holy nutshell, is Hinduism. Jan Martel.
We may not be God, but we are of God, even as a little drop of water is of the ocean. Imagine it becomes helpless, torn from its surroundings, and it cannot feel the might and majesty of the ocean. But if someone can point out to it that it is the ocean, its faith would revive. It would dance with joy, and the whole of the might and majesty of the ocean would be reflected in it. Gandhi.
A Veda is an ancient Hindu scripture. Using the tweezers of the knowledge of the truth, I have managed to extract the painful thorn of endless opinion from the recesses of my heart. Bondage is when the mind is tangled in one of the senses, and liberation is when the mind is not tangled in any of the senses. Nothing is inherently good or bad. The mind creates these judgments. In quantum physics, the law of probability demonstrates how observers are inseparable and actively shaping our reality. Emotion impacts our life greatly. Emotion also impacts learning and memory. In the two-factor theory of emotion, an emotion results from the combination of physical arousal and cognitive assessment of that arousal. How a person assesses a situation gives rise to the different emotions. Our limbic system governs the sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response. The limbic system is part of the forebrain. The forebrain is located just below the cortex. The hypothalamus and amygdala interpret incoming emotionally charged events. They will then respond by sending impulses to the pons and medulla, which propagate them to the spinal cord. The sympathetic nervous system affects many organs. The spinal cord sends the signal directly to these organs. The hippocampus is hugely important in all limbic system functions. The hippocampus is primarily utilized for learning and memory. Because it serves both functions, the hippocampus is not a storage facility, but an active area for encoding and retrieving memories. The amygdala is another significant structure of the limbic system. The amygdala's main function is to respond to stress and anxiety in one's environment. When the amygdala is stimulated, it produces arousal that can reach rage levels. Yet when it is damaged, the amygdala no longer reacts to stress of any type. The prefrontal cortex is also considered to be part of the limbic system. The prefrontal cortex receives input from the limbic system structures, especially the amygdala. In humans, the prefrontal cortex is vital for decision-making, comprehension, motivated behaviors, and temperament. This area of our brain continues to develop well into our 20s and is greatly affected by alcohol, drugs, mood disorders, and depression. There is a path to joy to escape the world's suffering. Thoughts are powerful, choose to achieve. Everything's possible for they who believe. Abracadabra, said before a magic trick, means I create as I speak in Aramaic. The creation of speech begins with a thought. Thoughts become things is what this phrase taught. Thoughts leave the skull, they're not trapped interior. They compose beliefs which dictate behavior. Transmitting thoughts emits energy, evidence of thoughts seen with an EEG.
Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, the door will be opened. Matthew 7:7.
Everything is constantly changing. Before the Gautama became enlightened under the Bodhi tree, bringing Buddhism to India, Lao Tzu taught Tao in China. Tao is the mystical power of the universe that brings perfect harmony to opposing elements. This balance is depicted by the yin and yang symbol. Lao Tzu also taught that only when one is free of desires will they be at peace. In India, the enlightened Buddha instructed his framework for liberation from the world's suffering. The first thing one must do is acknowledge life is suffering. Life is suffering due to our attachments. The Buddha offers good news. There is liberation, nirvana, for those who follow the path. The path asks followers to have the right view, thought, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. The reward, nirvana, is peace right here and now.
One would not abandon one's own purpose because of the purpose of another, even though great. Having well understood one's own purpose, one would be intent on the true purpose.
Our heart is significant and electric. Islam is the Arabic word for submission to Allah's will. The goal is to align your life's path with Allah's will, God's will. Islam is a religion that believes in destiny and that all good and bad come from God. This is directly in the Islamic creed, along with the profession of belief in angels, prophets, and the afterlife. Muslims believe, as it is written in the Quran, the best human beings are those who are useful to others. The Hadith are practical words of the Prophet Muhammad. These concise sayings, as his own remarks, are not considered holy but revered as helpful guidance. Avoid greed, for greed in itself is poverty. Avoid stubbornness, it begins in ignorance and ends in regret. Trust in God, but tie your camel's leg.
Value the worth of 5 things before they are replaced by the other 5 conditions. Value your youthfulness before old age arrives. Value health before sickness strikes. Value your wealth before you become needy. Value peacefulness before hardship comes. And value life before death arrives.
Reality is subjective and the mind creates it. The sight of someone eating will not appease your hunger. The spiritual experience of others cannot satisfy your yearning. If your private myth, your dream, happens to coincide with that of society's, you are in good accord with your group. If it isn't, you've got an adventure in a dark forest ahead of you. Joseph Campbell. The perfect mystic is neither an ecstatic devotee lost in contemplation of oneness, nor a saintly reclusive shunning all commerce with mankind. The true saint goes in and out among the people and never forgets God for a single moment. Abu Sa'id.
Saint Teresa says the soul would desire to have 1,000 lives so as to employ them all for God. Saint Teresa says God begins to commune with the soul in so intimate a friendship that he not only gives it back its own will, but gives it his. For in so great a friendship the Lord takes joy in putting the soul in command.
Voluntary suffering is demonstrating devoted self-control. Krishna conscious can save us from spiritual death. To achieve Krishna conscious, we must reconnect with Brahma and become self-realized. We must take up our anchors to normal existence, including all attachments we have to the physical body, our family, hometown, beliefs, and religious rituals. We must free ourselves of illusion, pride, greed, and cycles of emotion. We must understand our eternal soul and surrender it to God. A Bhakta is a Hindu on the path to Krishna conscious. Devotees of Bhakti, they practice mutual love and devotion to a personal God. Krishna teaches that only through Bhakti can one achieve an understanding of God.
When she first heard of Hare Krishnas, she didn't hear right. She heard hairless Christians, and that is what they were to her for many years. When I corrected her, I told her that in fact she was not so wrong, that Hindus, in their capacity for love, are indeed hairless Christians, just as Muslims, in the way they see God in everything, are bearded Hindus, and Christians, in their devotion to God, are hat-wearing Muslims.
Sufism is a mystical path of Islam followed and founded by the Persian visionary Al-Ghazali in the year 1058. Sufi devotees serve humanity as an act of worship to Allah. Purifying their hearts along the way, they seek to experience God as they become aware that all things are unified manifestations of Allah. It's vital we remove the veils of fear. It's not possible to profess true love for God and live life fearing Satan. This lack of faith gives Satan a power beyond God's in the mind. The fear becomes a form of worship itself. The Muslim tradition teaches a healthier approach to thinking about the role of Satan, shaitan, in our lives. According to tradition, Satan was one of the highest angels in heaven. When Adam was created, Satan refused to serve him or mankind. Satan disobeyed with his wish only to serve God. For that, he was banished. Never losing his adoration for God, Satan's mission is to create the various distractions people use to corrupt and waste their lives, thus proving he was correct about humanity all along. What is there to fear but our own actions and missteps that lead from our distinct path of goodness? Do not live in fear of dark forces. Shine the light, focus, keep moving. This world is not bad. On the contrary, it is the field of the hereafter. What you plant here, you will reap there. This world is the way to eternal bliss, and so is good, worthy to be cherished and to be praised. Ibn Arabi. Body is animated by soul until death. Energy is spent keeping organized states, like clean houses dirty at quick rates. All things in this world degrade to chaos and disorder. Nothing lasts forever. Life streams, mountains, or mortar. Called entropy, it's increasing, turning the ordered random. In large enough time frames, the whole universe is victim. Crumble, rust, or die, entropy's why. Everything has to end. It's an inevitability, a law that will not bend. Cells push back entropy using mitosis. One cell becomes two in this metamorphosis. Mitosis isn't stable, it declines with age. Health controls the process, giving lifespan a range. Mitosis slows, cells aren't replaced, bodies sag and lag. Building blocks of organs feel entropy's drag. Soon it's too much, organs give out. Death's a part of nature, life's predestined route. For my funeral, call the drummers, tribal beaters, and tambourine players. March towards my grave dancing thus, happy, gay, intoxicated, with hands clapping, so that people will know that the friends of God go happy and smiling towards the place of meeting. Rumi. Everything in the universe is connected. Hindu, Tao, and Buddhism teach transcendence, to find interconnectedness, not independence. Aim for enlightenment with a single realization. Collectively, all things are but one creation. It's difficult for our minds with the propensity to divide everything up in multiplicity. Eliminate these thoughts, erode the illusion, set your mind clear for a new conclusion. Quantum physics. Bell's theory explains how the universe demonstrates inexplicable connectivity in real time.
You are more precious than both heaven and earth. You know not your own worth. Sell not yourself at little price, being so precious in God's eyes. Rumi.
How can you start today?
Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. St. Paul to the Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8.